Welcome back to another explainer. Look, if you're a busy professional, a creator, a student, or really just anyone trying to survive the absolute grind of a modern metro city, you already know the drill. Staying healthy, it honestly feels like a second full-time job. Between the 2-hour commutes, those endless meetings that definitely should have been emails, and staring at glowing screens all day, our bodies and minds are just constantly under siege. But here's the thing. What if getting healthy didn't require some massive, exhausting life overhaul? Today, we're breaking down the Metropolitan Blueprint for Holistic Daily Health. Consider this your completely actionable, step-by-step guide to not just surviving, but actually thriving in the city, using simple little micro habits to reclaim your energy. But before we get to the solution, we've got to face the main villain of our story today. 8 to 10 hours. That is exactly how long the average urban adult sits every single day. Crazy, right? Whether you're hunched over a laptop, stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, or just binge-watching shows after a brutally long day, this sedentary lifestyle is kind of the baseline reality for most of us in the city. It's a massive structural problem, but it's one we're going to conquer today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our day in the life blueprint. We'll start with the Urban Health Challenge, then move into mastering your morning, navigating the workday, and finally, unwinding in the evening.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the Urban Health Challenge. Now, the stakes for urban workers are incredibly high. The World Health Organization actually recommends a minimum of 150 minutes of weekly exercise just to combat our frankly super sedentary routines. But the interventions to fix this, they're surprisingly simple. Like regular walking significantly lowers your risk of heart disease. On the flip side, getting less than 6 hours of sleep drastically spikes your stress levels. So these aren't just random statistics. They are literally the exact parameters we're using to build out our daily brute rate.
Moving right along to Section 2, Mastering Your Morning.
Let's see how this builds across our morning timeline. We're progressing from a 6 a.m. wake up through exercise and breakfast right up to your 8 a.m. office prep.
So, the alarm goes off at 6 a.m. Step 1, hydrate. Gulp down 1 to 2 glasses of water right away. Step 2 is absolutely crucial. Disconnect. Avoid your phone for the first 15 minutes. Seriously, leave it on the nightstand to prevent that immediate cortisol spike. And step 3, just ground yourself with some deep breathing or light stretching. These tiny micro habits instantly wake up your internal systems before a single email or push notification can derail your vibe.
Just 15 minutes later, at 6:15 a.m., it's time to move. The blueprint carves out about 20 to 30 minutes here for walking, jogging, cycling, or maybe some yoga. This early movement is an absolute game changer, guys. Remember that WHO recommendation of 150 minutes a week we just talked about? Well, hitting 20 to 30 minutes right here basically covers your daily quota. Plus, getting this done first thing helps drastically slash your daily stress and sets a super high energy baseline for the entire rest of your day.
All right, fast forward past breakfast to 8 a.m. This is your office and work prep phase. The whole key here is not letting the busy workday catch you off guard. You really need to proactively plan out your big tasks right now. And crucially, literally do not skip this. Pack a water bottle and some healthy snacks. Because if you don't take these with you, the city environment is absolutely going to dictate your choices later. And we all know that usually means grabbing some overpriced, highly processed convenience lunch.
Which brings us to Section 3. Navigating the workday. Let's track our fast-paced workday timeline. We're looking at your mid-morning break at 10:30 a.m., through lunch, that notoriously brutal mid-afternoon slump at 3:30 p.m., all the way to the 6 p.m. commute. So the vital point here is what happens at 10:30 a.m. You need a short break, specifically a quick 5-minute stretch. You really must avoid continuous sitting. I mean, think about it. Your body was not designed to be folded up like a pretzel in an office chair for 4 hours straight. Set an alarm on your phone if you have to. Just stand up, stretch those legs out, and reset your posture. Then, right around 3:30 p.m., you inevitably hit that classic afternoon wall. We've all been there. It is time for a mental refresh. First off, bypass those sugary, jitter-inducing energy drinks and grab some water or a green tea instead. Second, and honestly, this is absolutely huge for creators and students staring at monitors all day, do a 5-minute eye relaxation. Literally just look out a window. Let those eye muscles physically unfocus from the harsh glare of the screen for a few minutes. Now it's 6 p.m., and we are transitioning homeward. Listen, the commute is a total danger zone for urban workers. You're exhausted, you're hungry, and suddenly fast food just seems to be glowing on every corner.
The Blueprint strongly advises you to walk whenever possible, maybe get off the train or bus just one stop early, and strictly avoid the urge to grab junk food during this commute. Hold the line, okay, dinner is almost ready.
Now let's talk about how we're going to properly fuel our bodies throughout this demanding schedule. At 7 a.m., breakfast is packed with high protein. Think oats and eggs to give you that long-lasting fuel. Then by 1 p.m., lunch is super balanced but explicitly less oil, so you don't end up in a massive food coma at your desk all afternoon. Finally, your 8 p.m. dinner is a light meal, and the trick here is eating it at least 2 hours before sleep so digestion doesn't end up ruining your rest. All right, moving into our final phase, Section 4, unwinding in the evening. This final timeline traces the hours from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. At 7 p.m., we're engaging in some light physical activity. And hey, we aren't doing high-intensity interval training here. Think more along the lines of a nice evening stroll or a very light workout. But just as importantly, the Blueprint specifically carves out this time for you to spend with family or friends. Social connection is a massive and honestly often overlooked component of holistic health, especially when you're living in a busy and sometimes kind of isolating city. By 9 p.m., it's time to initiate the digital detox. You really got to reduce the mobile and social media usage here. Let's be real, doom scrolling in bed completely destroys your sleep architecture. Instead, try swapping out the screen for some meditation, reading an actual physical book, or just listening to some calming music. You basically have to signal to your brain that the workday is officially 100% over. Then, at 10 p.m., it is lights out. We're aiming for 7 to 8 hours here. And the contrast is just stark. Getting less than 6 hours dramatically increases your urban health risks and stress. But locking in those 7 to 8 hours, that actively improves your focus, bolsters your immunity, and fundamentally protects your mental health. It is quite literally the ultimate daily performance enhancer. So, what does this all mean for you? Which single microhabit from the Metropolitan Blueprint are you actually going to commit to tomorrow morning? Look, you don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just start small. Try drinking some water before checking your phone, or force yourself to take that 5-minute stretch at 10:30 a.m. Will you let the city dictate your health tomorrow, or will you finally take back control? Pick just one habit, stick to it, and watch it transform your daily life. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.